Hey folks, it's Tuesday.
Hello folks, it's Monday.
Tuesday.
Wednesday. Thursday.
Friday.
Saturday. Sunday.
Create week, and I wanted to show you my garden, but I have this crappy little webcam. So what can I kind of do? I found a story that I started to write when I think I had the idea when I was in 7th grade. So I think I'm gonna give you a little taste of that. You can always just skip to the end or just, stop this video now. But it's called Crushed. Here it is. I think it all started the day the television wouldn't pick up any stations. Since the TV was really the only thing that worked in my cabin, I figured I'd better head into town. I needed flour and cigarettes anyway, so I might as well get it checked out while I was down there. I made sure the boats were tied up, threw my television in the back of my truck, and drove the 7 miles up the winding dirt road to the woods of northern New England. The only real problem of living alone in relative seclusion is that from time to time you have to visit towns like Venice, Vermont. As soon as my truck crested the top of the hill, I knew I was in Venice. The glowing Walmart sign engulfed the entire town. The only thing that was visible aside from Wally World was the steeple from the Methodist church, and you could only see that during the day. It was a working-class town, well, formerly working class. There was a furniture factory that shut down about 10 years ago, so the only way the town made any money was from tourism. Tourists from New York and Massachusetts would come twice a year, in late fall and winter to see the leaves change and ski, then again in the summer to swim and fish. Horace was already out of the door to greet me as soon as I pulled into the parking lot of his general store gas station. "Evening, Mr. LeBlanc. You out of here pretty late?" "How you doing, Horace? I'm out of smokes and I could do with a few pounds of flour." Horace walked inside. "Lucky Strikes?" "You know it. 5 cartons." I remembered what was in the bed of my truck, and I hopped out and walked in. "Oh, and my TV doesn't seem to be working." "Yours and everyone else's, Mr. LeBlanc. There must be something wrong down south. Reader doesn't work either. That's the price we pay for living in the mountains." "Not much of a price if you ask me," I said. The drive back home was uneventful. When the woods opened up and the lake came into view, I felt like I could relax. Home. One evening, about a month later, I was sitting on my porch overlooking the lake. It was early December and it felt it. I had to put my flannel jacket over the thick wool sweater I was already wearing. It was then I noticed a few lights across the water on the beach. My beach. I woke up the next morning sitting on the ratty lounge chair, clutching my rifle. Apollo was passed out at my feet and Artemis was by the door waiting to be let out. The first snow of the year began to fall, pretty late for us. It made little mounds on the beach and started to stick to the ground. I always thought it was odd to see snow on sand, as if they didn't belong together. I figured I wasn't going to learn anything new by just staring across the water, so I put on a wool hat and slung my rifle across my back. And started my morning chores. I milked Sandra, my goat, collected eggs from my small flock of laying hens, slopped the pigs, and shoveled the pathways between my cabin, barn, chicken coop, and woodshed. It was about midday, and I had been bringing wood from my shed to my cabin. The door had just closed behind me when I heard knocking. The dog started barking, and the sudden commotion startled me. I dropped the wood I was carrying, swung up my rifle, and stared at the door. Seconds passed, and the dog's barking had turned into growls, the 3 of us unsure of how to proceed. Why was I so jumpy? This was my land, I shouldn't be worried. I told the dogs to sit and be quiet, lowered my gun, and walked towards the door and slowly opened it. He looked about 20. He was wearing an old army jacket under a beat-up black leather jacket you'd see on motorcycle gangs from the 50s. On his head was an olive drab army cap. Around his neck hung a red bandana which seemed to have been soaked in blood and motor oil for the past 16 years. The cuffs of his dirty olive drab work pants were tucked into big black army boots. However, what struck me the most was the rifle he had leveled at me. I don't know. I don't think that made any sense because it didn't really get to anything until later, but that's Tuesday. So, that's all folks, and Laya, I'll see you tomorrow.